Glory Bloom. Does that bring back memories for anybody who went to school? Principals have a hard job. So, Hayhurst has been a big cornerstone of our community, and the other big cornerstone has been Alpenrose Dairy. How many people went on a field trip to Alpenrose Dairy and saw a cow and maybe got to milk one and learned where milk comes from? And maybe your kids played ball there or rode the velodrome or, Easter egg hunt. There's so many things going on. And Alpenrose has just been a big part of our community for many, many years. So it's going away. It's going to be something different. And that's why we're here tonight to think about and talk about what we want this new development to do and how we want it to work for us. And the biggest concern is transportation. So we've been living next to Static Road with the country road, lane road, no place to walk. And we're going to have 263 homes go in. Just to catch everybody up, Alpenrose Dairy has been sold, basically, we're paying attention. And the first developer filed an application, a pre-application, 2 years ago and 1 month ago, almost exactly to the day, Lennar Homes. So we started paying attention, Claire Carter with Maplewood over here, Francine and Tim Brew with Hem Street Heights, and myself, Hayhurst Neighborhood.
There's like a link for people to zoom into.
Yes. Okay. They should have the link already. Zoom link should be out there, yeah. And we started paying attention. We started the Friends of Alpenrose. We got a website and we started tracking this thing and learning as much as we can about land use and transportation. In April, West Hills Land Development filed an actual application, not a pre-application, for 263 homes on the Alpenrose property. And the city reviewed it and sent it back, and they are now providing more information. The application was not complete. And one of the big areas that they need to work on is the traffic study, or what's also called the transportation impact analysis. So just know that there's a lot of moving pieces and it's all kind of in flux right now because the developer has to prepare this traffic study with all of the impacts for the whole surrounding area. So that's happening right now. So nothing has been approved, nothing's set in stone yet. But what we do know is the developer will have to improve the part of Shattuck that is along property, and it will have a multi-use bikeway and walkway. That goes up about as far as Pendleton Court, and then north of that, big question mark. I can see the big question mark in front of everybody's head, like, okay, what happens to the rest of the Shattuck? How are the people in these 263 houses going to walk or bike to get to Albertson or to catch the bus? That's, nice 10, 15-minute walk, but how are they going to get there? What's happening on the west side of Shattuck? Of Alpenrose, sorry. The Hem Street Heights neighborhood is Dover. What's going to happen with the Raleigh Hills intersection? We have a new name for it, thanks to Councilor Hwang, the intersection of doom. I like that. You drove around the area with us a little while back. So what's going to happen? All these questions. So what we're going to do, we're going to learn tonight about how we get safe and effective transportation for our area with the help of our elected officials. And we have many also city council candidates here to learn around about it with us and meet with us. And it's a complicated process. If you're familiar with the Capitol Highway improvements that just opened up last year, that took 20 years to get that done. And we really can't wait. 25 years and be done. We can't wait that long. So we need to figure out how to get millions and millions of dollars to make the improvements to our area to make this community the best that it can be. That's what we want to do. So I'd like to introduce Councilor Hwang and thank him. Councilor Hwang here. I don't know if you want to stand up. Everybody knows who you are. when you were first running, I think. He said, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you. He talked to us when he was running for his position 3 years ago. And, has stayed with us and agreed to help us host this event. And then he invited State Representative Dacia Grayber to join, and Dacia, you don't know who lead us in the conversation. And I also want to introduce at this time, Don Baack. He's with Southwest Trail, and he's going to talk a little bit about a really important part of this project, which is the red electric trail that runs along the north side of the Alpenrose property and will eventually connect up to the Fano Creek Trail and also all the way down to the Willamette River so that people can safely bike and walk to get to all kinds of neighborhoods and needs, and including Hager School, Gray School, and Ida B. Wells School. It would be a through route so that you wouldn't have to go along Beaverton highway. And so I think we're ready to hear from Don. Unless Claire, did you want to say or Tim, anybody? We'll get you have some. Okay, sorry. Sorry. They say great. Thank you. All right. Yep. Thank you.
No, I just know I'm gonna pace around with another place to sit. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is an incredible turnout, and it really embodies the 4 C's of Hayhurst Elementary, and that's courage, compassion, collaboration, and community. And everything, yeah. For that. So these are conversations that are not new to any of us, but these are conversations that will hold in the forefront as we move forward. Tonight, Councilor Hwang and I are here as conveners. Our job as electeds, and for all the candidates running as well, our job is to listen to the community, hear what the issues are that are top of mind to you, and then from there we can look forward at how we collaborate and connect together to solve this problem. So, too many doing wants to hear in the politicians set up to talk a bunch of time. So I'm going to get back down. I just want to thank everyone for taking your time out on this beautiful summer night to come here and have these conversations. And then now I
I'm too old to get on the stage. Thank you, Stacey. Red electric. Back in about a year and a half ago, TriMet changed about, and I'm going to step out a little bit so I don't get too much sun in my eye. But basically, when they did that, we lost bus service 7% of our households southwest. I don't think that's much different than what happened in Beaverton and Washington. The net result of that is we don't have bus service. We have shitty bicycle facilities, and we really need to have a way to get around, and we're not getting it, so we're charging it. And that means, even in spite of all the planning that's been going on, we need to get something else. So the red electric, if we turn the lights all off, that would be a lot better. Red electric trail basically was proposed in 1999 by Top Trail Park, put in a grant request to Metro, did a plan in 2007, and adopted by City Council, put in the ballot to show it here. Since then, Beaverton Park has got their feet very, very, very slowly. Actually doing much. They have done a couple things. One thing was right over here at Hillsdale, and it's really hard to see this. There's a new bridge, $5 million for everything to get done. It's on the plan for about 10 years, and finally got it done about 2 years ago. Great facility. That's only one thing. The purpose of the Alpenrose project would be to connect in this area, the red electric trail, and with the plan that park was right here. Now, Senator Burdick funded $750,000 for park the plan the second right. Basically, shot it to camera, and then that's about 30% plan. We need money to get it going forward. What I'm going to talk about tonight, particularly, is the area of Hillsdale East, because this is where we need to have significant planning and investment. That is, right, the plan calls for the red electric trail to go across one of those Barber bridges. Now, sometime in the future, BHOS is expecting to give Barber to the city, which means there'll be a lot of money involved on the legislature. You have to fund a lot of things. One of the things that I want us to say for sure is we want to make sure that that elected what he is completed. Because otherwise, we end up with all these facilities out here that don't go anywhere. And if you try to ride down the highway uphill or downhill, it's not a fun situation. It's narrow, it's fast, and you've got an electric bike that do 30 miles an hour, but God help you if you're walking at electric bike at that speed. So basically, we really need to have this completed. Then there's a trail that goes on the old Slavin Road, 1860, the first part of it, and then it connects Corbin, goes north, straight up, next to the Complete Bridge. So then we get down here where we've got great facilities going to downtown, along the waterfront, so on. But the key point is this area right here. So that's what we need to make sure that we have everyone that has anything to say about it. That's what the state legislature, BHOS, to make sure that this moves forward. Now, why is this important at this point in time? With the southwest corridor thing plan, we had a city commissioner that was very anti-Southwest. I met with some of them and they said, we're not going to give any money to Southwest. They basically did not choose to put the red electric even on the plan for the Southwest corridor. And so a lot of us therefore fought to kill it because it was totally insufficient. There are some other reasons as well. And it was a very expensive project. At some point, we're going to get improvements on Barber. It's going to come with exchange of responsibility, and the state needs to say to the city, we got to have the red electric trail completed on that east end part of it. Our first step in that would be to get the cost estimate and a feasibility study in terms of what they're using existing bridges on new bridges, because the city's not going to have the new bridges that will be hundreds of millions of dollars. The bridges are 100 feet above the gully. Not as significant as that. Anyway, that's it. You got questions? Now's the time. Thank you very much.
Very much. Thank you. So we're now going to move into a part of the program that's a little bit more interactive, but I want to introduce some of the leaders who are going to help us in answering questions that we have. And our neighborhood chairs are going to be asking questions. But I want to introduce Washington County Chair Kathryn Harrington. Thank you very much for being here. Washington County is just on the other side of Alpenrose, in case you're wondering. We're in Multnomah County, but we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Washington County. So we go do a lot of shopping and traveling over there all the time. And Washington County Commissioner Nafisa 5 is here. And Commissioner 5 has south of Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, and then Commissioner Pam Keith has north of Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. And okay. She's our person. We know that we know. So we have some questions we're going to be asking of Councilor Hwang and Chair Harrington and Commissioner 5, as well as City of Portland people. Is Cynthia Castro here? Oh, hi. Cynthia Castro is Deputy Chief of Staff for Commissioner Max. And if you'd like to go over to this area, we're going to kind of go into our learning session here. It's not like we have a panel, but we'll be asking questions. And we also have some Portland Bureau of Transportation representatives coming. And here's Kristen. Kristen, okay. Thank you very much for joining us. And we have many city council candidates here for District 4. Thank you very much for showing up. Please introduce yourself to people as we move into our, we're going to spend about a half an hour and put sticky notes up and break and talk and have refreshments. So that's going to happen. And TriMet, thank you. Miles. Miles from TriMet, thank you very much. And Oregon Department of Transportation, Stephanie is over here. Okay, Stephanie. And so we have, why do we have so many different people in the room? Does anybody know? Because we have city of Portland within the city limits, we have Washington County, just over the board. We have city of Beaverton. Is there anybody from the city of Beaverton here? There's a little, yes, thank you. And what's your name, sorry? Oh, okay, sorry, I mean, representing city of Beaverton, like the government. Anybody from the city of Beaverton government? Yes, thank you. What's your name? Okay, policy advisor to the mayor. The mayor could not be here. So thank you very much. And we will also be asking you a question. City of Beaverton is a little piece of that. Oregon Department of Transportation has Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. TriMet, of course, is very important for all of our public transportation. And Metro does planning. I mean, there are all these different jurisdictions that are involved. It's very complicated, and we're going to learn more about it now. So we'll start with our first question. Beth is going to ask our first question. Beth Lucas.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Maria. She's spent years, literally years on this whole process. We could probably give her in the back of the box. So really on this particular and so, you know, we're going to work today, and we're going to try caboose. Anyway, yeah, so I'm Hwang with our county commissioner, Multnomah County Commissioner. I don't know if you got a chance to, Metro Councilor, I'm sorry. Yeah, Metro Councilor in our district here. And I don't know if you got a chance to introduce yourself, but I wanted to thank you and your whole staff for helping us put this together. Without them, we couldn't have all gotten to this right now. But I have a question for you, which relates really to the overall, since you are not really in charge of, but involved in all of the different jurisdictions that are involved here. It's very complicated. What is the regional transportation plan? I keep hearing about the RTP, and I finally realized what that was. And what does it do, and what does it not do?
Great, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Duncan Hwang, your Metro Councilor, Chair of District 6, which is basically the Beaverton city limit to 122nd Portland. So really condensed district. A lot of different needs, but actually, you know, I like to find decent transportation on the east side. I work for about getting transferred over to the city of Portland and I got to transit on the corridor. And the more I kind of like dug in and talking about great neighborhood associations out here, so many of the same transportation issues that we have out in East Portland are experienced out here on the west side as well. So I really wanted to come out here and work with you all and bring folks together to tackle those issues. So yeah, the RTP. Who's heard of the RTP? Regional Transportation Plan. We got some planning here. The RTP is a comprehensive blueprint for different transportation investments across the region. We at Metro updated every 5 years, and part of the reason why is like, you know, we really see Metro as a convener and you know, an organization that wants to facilitate these kind of conversations. We heard from you know, speakers earlier about how many jurisdictions there are kind of like intersecting at this point in you got all the state agencies, you got Metro, you got TriMet, you got cities and counties. So I think it's easy for any one jurisdiction to say, oh, that's not our problem. Go talk to have you all experienced that? Okay. So I think that's what we're really here to have conversations, bring them together and build momentum towards getting something done. So yeah, the RTP is a plan for the next 25 years of transportation. It kind of has two parts to it. There's a constraint list and unconstrained list. The constraint lists are eligible for funding. But that actually brought was in the front of constraint list projects that are coming to the neighborhood. Pick one up, you can see what kind of projects are on the horizon. And region-wide, there's about 750 projects on the constraint list, totaling about $28 billion. So that's a lot of money going to transportation all across the region. And I think what we're here to do is really make sure that some of that 28 billion comes to this region, this neighborhood, this area. I think it's underrepresented. The unconstrained list is like stream list of all the functions. So kind of. Yeah, so RTP is basically a menu of projects across the region. For example, Grayber told me that the best place to go eat here is Baack Cafe. Okay. But that's how RTP kind of is. It creates a menu of all projects that could be funded. And what we want to do is elevate our projects into RTP so that they are more fundable. And we want more resources. So we want to be like the Super Bowl. Yes, that's and that requires a lot of organizing, like we heard from Don. Don has been a workhorse advocate for decades, and that's what it takes. Like people are advocating all across the region for them because they want to see improvements come through. And this is part of that, started that first conversation of like how do we all work together, grow a jurisdiction, elevate our companies. That's really my hope for this conversation. And again, we're going to put we're actually building a convener and it's really up to organizations, governments here to I'll just leave it at that. Really, yeah.
Our next question for Washington County, and Francine, you're going to ask the question.
Hi, Francine. I'm from one of the others. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's coming through the intersection of Doom, I call it, or what I call it. What have we got in store for us?
Not a lot yet. And I've certainly lived with that intersection for a long time. And you don't need me to stand here and say, well, it's complicated. But what we really do need is more collaboration in order to work on your behalf. While calling it the intersection of doom or in negative words may attract people to meetings like this, what we really need to be able to do is sit down and figure out how we get good projects on funding lists, like with the RTP and in front of the state legislature. I'm really proud that our colleagues in the Washington County Board of Commissioners just adopted two major pieces that relate to transportation. One is we just made a commitment to fund $150 million of transportation in Washington County with county funds. Secondly, we approved another $250 million of transportation projects. So we know that transportation planning plays a key role. In preparing for tonight's meeting, I needed to be reminded of specifically when did the town center plan for the Shoals Ferry Road BH Highway fail to be adopted. And that was back in 2000, before I actually started my Metro Council in 2007. So what we don't have figured out for the greater area is the land use to enable more of the togetherness that town centers provide, small businesses, connectivity for sidewalks and trails. But what we do know is going to happen, I'm trying to evade your question, I'm trying to get to what do we know? We do know that the state legislature is setting up for additional funding rounds. What they need to hear, more than just Rep. Grayber, but what our state legislators need to hear is that you are willing to provide funding for transportation investments. that will help make areas improve. And I know you're really good at that because the work that Don spoke about, I learned from as a Metro Councilor. It's why I worked hard to make sure in the 2018 we adopted an active transportation plan and a policy to make it happen within 20 years, i.e. one childhood. Okay, so I have a track record of collaborating. I know what the red electric line does. I spent a lot of time learning about that for all of our transit and nature and neighborhood improvements. So we can get things done. Thank you for being willing to invest your time and advocacy so that we can help get the plans that you need, because we can't get it funded without plans. But secondly, the advocacy so that we can help ensure that sidewalks, bike lanes, roadways, intersection, human designed transportation solutions get done. So we still have work to do on the Washington County side. By the end of next year, 2025, we have to have some different plans in place for the whole Shullsbury Town Center area because of climate planning requirements that they're expecting. So it's not like we have staff available already to do this work or that we have the dollars to do the plans. But there's a marker out there where we need to change the unadopted level plan. So we have something small in the works, but sometimes small things help enable the bigger things. So I wanted to give you a positive answer to your question. Okay. So next. By the way, what I represented is the board's position and is not my individual viewpoint. So it is supported by the majority of the commission. So what you may hear next is the opinion of one commissioner. Here you go.
Thank you, Chair Harrington. Good afternoon, everyone. Nafisa 5, Commissioner for District 1. Great to be here. While the intersection of doom is what probably brought everyone here, we in Washington County, I think we prefer to call the intersection of confusion, congestion, and traffic. I think it is something that relates to people in Washington County. But as you heard the chair, we are in this, all of us together. And tonight, in preparation of this, our transportation director is here with us in the room and has a couple slides, Stephen, that wanted queued up. Okay, you want to come up here quickly and say hello? They're way ahead of schedule, so we could do the plans quickly.
So thank you, folks. I'm Stephen Roberts. I'm the Director of Land Use and Transportation for Washington County. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'll be happy to chat with folks when we get to the break point. If you want to come find me, I'll be happy to connect with you about some things that are reports for that intersection that share here. And again, just appreciate all the leaders tonight.
Thank you, Stephen. If you can just slide play on.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And City of Beaverton Mayor's Office, would you like to come up? We didn't let him know he was going to have a question, but we give you an opportunity to speak. And we just recently learned that the City of Beaverton is updating this transportation system plan. So I don't know if there's anything happening in the one Olson Road, Garden Home area, or Road, or other.
Sure. I wasn't planning to speak today, so I appreciate getting the chance. And I appreciate this being pulled together. It's spot. It's really important to have all the units of government together to be able to talk about this and hear from all of you. As close as possible, but hearing from you all. We are redoing our transportation system plan. We're in the very early stages of that. And I know Olson Road is a big part of that redevelopment strategy. That's going to be taking some time to be able to develop. I think from the mayor's perspective, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to be here today. a big thing that she just wants to be able to get across with her re-election campaign and her first campaign is having safe streets where we can have people feel safe to be able to be a part of the community, walk, bike, and drive where they want to. So as I'm here more of an observer to be able to see what you all want to see, particularly on the Beaverton side of this thing. But I appreciate being able to share just a little bit, and I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. So, thank you.
I also want to add that, Washington County has historically done things that have gotten in the way of the city of Beaverton, doing more than just the area that's currently part of the city of Beaverton. With the new Board of Commissioners, we have, conversation, collaboration underway already to help look at how areas that are outside of the city of Beaverton, but adjacent to your neighborhood, might be handled differently into the future. So that's another reason for looking about. And I just wanted to make sure that with Nathan as the representative from the mayor's office, that we treat him kindly and gently because he has an opportunity to be in some of these conversations. That's all. Thank you. Who's the next MC?
Sorry.
Oh, no. Just want to make sure that
I can sneak through here without knocking everything down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair Harrington. So let's see, our next question is for Oregon Department of Transportation. Stephanie, are you available? And Claire, I think you were going to ask Stephanie, or not Stephanie. Oh, no. Okay. Claire, would you come over and ask your question? You don't have it? Sure.
Hi, Matt. I'm Claire Carter, the Chair of Maplewood Neighborhood Association. I have the pleasure to work with Matt Freitag before I retired. He was so pleased to our community. Thank you so much. So ODOT, can you please give a brief overview of how transportation projects such as the Beaverton Hillsdale Shoals Ferry intersection are prioritized for funding in the statewide transportation improvement plan, also called the SIP?
Thanks, Claire. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Freitag, about Streets One Project. So, good question. Second. For prioritizing in the SIP, so much like the RTP, ODOT has a 4-year SIP, which is our program of projects we're making improvements on, and they're mostly prioritized by numbers. So where the higher crash numbers are, we put safety dollars on there. Where the pavement's failing, we put preservation dollars. Same with bridge with those needed as well. We do have, unfortunately, a smaller budget when it comes to congestion management and other enhancements, but most we are focused on safety and preservation. As far as the intersection that everybody's asked about, I saw them back there said the BHOS, BHOS. I've heard that intersection they're making more negative. I get that there are some challenges out there, but we do have some slight improvements in the works there. Mostly it's signal improvements to make things as efficient as we can. We're trying to squeeze as much efficiency and capacity out of that intersection without obviously bigger improvements. And then also making some illumination improvements as well to make sure that people can be seen as they're traveling.
Thank you so much, Matt. And we hope that you'll keep in touch with us. So if we need to advocate for any type of these improvements or allocation of funding, we can do that because it's a big priority for the community, and I really appreciate it. Excellent explanation of what we can do to make it better for next. Now, is there anything else you would like to say about the funding that maybe people need to know. Yes, okay. No, okay, that's great. So thank you again so much. And now we have for another speaker that is here, Miles Pendilly. Are you available? Yes, yes, thank you. Welcome, Miles. Miles from TriMet. And we have a question for him, and that is, how best can residents of Southwest in this area advocate for improved bus service in the area around Alpenrose?
Hi, everyone. Miles Pendilly. I'm the Government Affairs Director for TriMet. This may not be the answer that you want to hear, but I'm going to echo Chair Harrington and say to advocate for more funding for transportation and in particular for transit in this coming legislative session. This will be the legislature is considering a transportation package for the first time since 2017. In 2017, the state created the STIF, which you just heard about, the first state funding source for transit that can be used for operations and maintenance. That's really important because transit agencies get lots of funding for building new projects, capital funding from the federal government, but we don't get much funding for actually providing the service to your needs. And so we really do want to provide the service that you all want to see to every community that we serve, but in a revenue constrained environment, that often means a trade-off. And if we want to provide better service to a lower income area with high ridership, that sometimes means taking service away from a higher income area with lower ridership. And so in a future where we want to give everybody the service that they are asking for and give everybody excellent service, we need more operations and maintenance funding. So the STIF is a state source that is incredibly important to TriMet and transit agencies across the state to be able to provide better service. The other thing you can do to advocate in the 2025 transportation package is for more investments in pedestrian infrastructure. I heard from someone from you tonight how challenging it can be to access some of TriMet's bus stops because of the lack of sidewalks. People don't feel safe actually walking to the stops. I know that it's not unique to Southwest Portland, and so I know it's frustrating to hear, right? But TriMet does not build the street infrastructure, the sidewalk infrastructure, but we do rely on it. And whether we can put a stop in a particular location, whether we can put a bus shelter at a particular stop, often depends on the quality of the sidewalk and the pedestrian infrastructure. And so another thing that you can advocate for is more funding for pedestrian infrastructure in your communities in the 2025 transportation package. And it really is impactful, and you can ask your representative for the legislators to hear from the communities they serve. I'm a lobbyist. I can go there and talk about TriMet's needs, but having people from the community talk about your stories, why you need more transit, why you need better pedestrian infrastructure, your challenges, that actually is very impactful to legislators, and they really do pay attention to that. The Joint Transportation Committee that is going to be considering this package is doing a statewide road show where they are doing public hearings all over the state. They're doing 12 stops. There are 2 more stops in the Portland metro area, Happy Valley on September 26th, and very close to you, it's in Hillsborough on September 27th, but for Washington County folks. And so I really encourage you to put that on your calendars. All the hearings are 5 to 7. Show up, tell your stories, say exactly what you need. The more specific you can be, the more personal you can be, the more impactful it's going to be. Because ultimately, in order to provide the transit service, the road quality, the bike and pedestrian access that you all want to see, the state needs more money, transit providers need more money, your local governments need more money to maintain our infrastructure. So that really is my recommendation. Happy to take a question.
Curious if there's opportunities with the bipartisan infrastructure law that we could be brought to this project.
Yeah, so the question was, are there opportunities with the bipartisan infrastructure law? Maybe that was something I meant to mention. And something that's really important is there's a lot of federal money available. We need a local match, or the state of Oregon local governments for these projects. In order to get all of this federal money that is available for infrastructure, we need to be able to provide a share of that funding at the local level, at the state level. And so certainly state funding is going to help with that. You know, I'm sure many of you recall there was a ballot measure in the metro area to increase funding for transportation infrastructure in 2020. And that measure was not successful. That was to the tune of $5 billion of funding for transportation infrastructure. And the needs that all your communities have for those projects did not just evaporate when that measure didn't pass. And one of the things that measure could have done, and that a future regional transportation measure could do, is provide that local match to bring more federal funding for transportation infrastructure.
Someone. Yes, oh, okay, raise your hand.
Bus stops, 7 o'clock, having that corner of the interstate.
What's the possibility of getting the bus stops to the middle of the block instead of having a corner where the infrastructure is? Our bus stop planners and transportation planners would have an excellent answer for you. I'm afraid I don't, but I can ask that question. I can follow up with you.
Okay, well, I think we are running a little short. Okay, what do you think, Marita? I think so. Okay. We have so, save your questions for later. All of these people will be around and they will be available after the presentations formally in the question. So I'm turning it over to Marita right now, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire. And thank you, Miles. There will be opportunities to speak with our panelists, and also we have, when we break, we'll have flip charts, and you can put questions and comments and ideas and everything up, and there is one for public transit. So please hold your questions and don't lose them, because we do want them. So next, I would like to invite Deputy Chief of Staff Cynthia Castro from Commissioner Matt's office up, and I have a question for Cynthia. And I don't know if you want the PBOT staff to come as well, and in case you need them. Okay, if you need them, you can have. Okay. And so Cynthia did Commissioner Matt's office. Commissioner Matt now oversees, well, kind of not really. Well, in about for one more week, oversees the Portland Bureau of Transportation as of July 1st. All going to be changing, and that's another thing that's a factor here is that the government structure is changing. We'll talk a little bit about that later too. But Cynthia, we have a question for you. We have a Southwest in Motion transportation plan for Southwest Portland, which is one that has a lot of these projects in it. And the Shattuck Road improvement projects are in the Southwest in Motion plan. The Shattuck Road improvements are also in Portland's transportation system plan. But they're not yet in the regional transportation plan that Councilor Hwang talked about, which is how the funding kind of flows, and then it gets in the statewide STIP and, you know, all the funding flows. So what would we be able to do to advocate for projects that are like Shattuck Road that are in the transportation plan, get them into the RP? Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for putting this event together. I love seeing different jurisdictions come together. I'm also sorry, I was just going to introduce myself really quick, a little bit more before I get into your question. And I'm also a Southwest Portland resident. I live in Hillsdale and actually biked on the Red Electric Bridge on my way over here. I have a daughter who will be a junior at Wells High School and a son who was just finished 8th grade at Robert Gray or Grafton. He was one of those kids that bussed over to Jackson following the ice storm. So very resilient class of students and faculty. So yeah, so very happy to be here to be in my own neighborhood and to answer your question. So the RTP only includes city or county owned, arterial roadways and the bridges. Those streets identified as neighborhood collectors will not be included in the RTP and are not eligible for most regional and federal funding opportunities. Streets like Cameron Road, Shattuck, and Vermont are considered neighborhood connectors. So we will need to work together on the local, state level to identify potential funding sources for them. BHOS has limited discretionary funding for capital projects, and the needs throughout the city far outstrip the available funding. Our current funding programs include quick build and TSP programs, which typically fund small to medium programs or projects. I've been with Commissioner Mapp's office for about 9 months, and my second day on the job, BHOS had a budget work session where I learned that the Bureau had an over $20 million budget shortfall. That ended up being a $32 million budget shortfall. So that's how I've been spending most of my year. Fortunately, we were able to close that gap, but that was a very real scenario that the Bureau was facing. We're also very fortunate that Portlanders supported the Fixing Our Streets gas tax. Without that, that would have been an additional $18 million budget shortfall for the Bureau. So in total, we were facing about a $50 million budget shortfall for next fiscal year. So BHOS, as we know, would have looked much different. Thankfully, with your support and council, we have a much better outlook, though the work continues. So with the Fixing Our Streets gas tax, it is different from past gas tax measures in that it doesn't identify specific projects. Instead, it includes programmatic allocations. One is for traffic safety projects with specific allocations for safety on busy streets and safety on neighborhood streets, and a commitment to allocate at least $1 million to projects in each of the new council districts. I know we have some city council candidates here with us today. So when we were structuring Fixing Our Streets, we were wanting to also have some alignment with our new districts and have opportunities for those council members to also help weigh in on projects in those specific districts. We also have a Fixing Our Streets Oversight Committee, which provides really important oversight and accountability to make sure that we're spending the dollars the way that you all expect from us. And so they will be reviewing projects as well with us. Most medium and large capital projects are funded through grants. The Regional Flexible Funds Allocation Program is one of the major programs we use to fund these kind of projects, using federal funds that are allocated through processes run by Metro, though these can only fund projects included in the RTP. Portland Parks and Recreation is considering submitting a RAPA grant proposal for the Red Electric Trail segment from Southwest Shattuck Road to Southwest Cameron Road. So that is something that we will discuss as a committee as we look towards putting forward our RAPA options. And then lastly, I'll just say that the 2045 Transportation System Plan update is an opportunity for community engagement as the city refreshes its priority project list. We're looking at seating a community advisory committee by the end of this fiscal year. Similar to Fixing Our Streets, we are looking at having representations from the different new council districts. And then we plan to be evaluating and prioritizing projects starting at the beginning of fiscal year 25-26 and lasting most of that year. The last thing I'll just say too is that as a city, so like you mentioned, I've been the liaison for Commissioner Maps to PBOT. The mayor is pulling back all bureaus starting July 1st. And so this is my final week with the Bureau of Transportation, though we will certainly as an office continue to be engaged in transportation matters. We are, I believe there's going to be a press conference this Thursday. Our new deputy city administrators for transportation, they will be in the public works plus service area. Our deputy city administrator's name is Priya Donapal. So I believe that the press conference this Thursday is sort of an introduction to get to know our new executive team here pretty soon.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you a follow-up question? So that was good information. Thank you very much. Because I didn't know that we can't just get Shattuck Road in the regional division. So that was good to know. So what would your advice be for the folks in this room who want to see improvements to Shattuck Northbound? Say if you live around here, what would you do?
Well, I will say that I just went for a walk with Duncan and I told him I'd call him Tenacious D. And so I think that advocating, obviously we have a room full of different elected officials who represent different organizations. I think one of the intentions today was to try to educate about what are those different kinds of funding sources out there for transportation improvements, as well as, what is the criteria, would this project even be eligible? So I would just say continue this advocacy. You've done a great job. There's been press about this event and Alpenrose in particular. So again, we've got city council candidates here, and I will say that Commissioner Baack will love being the commissioner in charge of public infrastructure. We need our future council to continue to prioritize public infrastructure improvements, especially in Southwest Portland. So I would just say, this is a great demonstration of what you all can do as a community, and just keep advocating, be persistent. Dawn knows sometimes it takes a long time. I met Dawn probably like 10 years ago at my Hillsdale Neighborhood Association meeting when I moved there, and they were talking about the bridge that I just crossed. It took years for that to be finished. But certainly, I would love to see improvements on Shattuck too. The way it is right now, I would hesitate to ride my bike or walk along that street. Connectivity is important, but like I said, there's a lot of different priorities. Funding is a challenge for transportation systems, not only for us at BHOS, but also our colleagues at ODOT. So I think having some understanding there too, but really educate yourself, keep advocating, and keep in touch with your elected officials to make those budgetary decisions.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. Really appreciate it. So that might be a good time now to introduce our city council candidates, because they're the ones who, when elected, January 1 of next year, they're the ones we're going to be working with on all of these questions. If you're a candidate for District 4 of the City Council, would you stand up, please? And I'll try to introduce you. And just kind of go around the room and then get a good look at these folks. And when we break, we're going to, when we break, please come out and talk. We're going to have an opportunity in just a little bit to put our comments up on the chart packs that are around the room, and also talk to your candidates for city council and get to know them. So if you, I'm sorry, could you stand up again? Oh, we want everybody to come up front. Okay. City council candidates, could you please come up front? And we have great representation. Thank you very much. And I'll just try to introduce everybody. We're not going to do a lot of talking tonight, but these are the people who you want to working with whoever gets elected in November on the new city council structure, and they're going to do a great job for us here in Southwest Portland. So let's see, starting at the end, I haven't met you. Andra Vltavin, thank you.
Mrs. Ross, also I'm chair of the Building Association.
Hi, I'm Andra Vltavin. I'm a climate activist. I've been working with 350 PDX and Extinction Rebellion PDX on the Linton neighborhood BI hub issues. I won't talk for too long, but I'd like to meet more of you, and I'm collecting signatures to qualify for the ballot. So if you can help me later, that would be helpful. Thank you.
My name is Moses Ross. I'm chair of the Neighborhood Association for 8 years now. And I'm running obviously for city council because I believe it's all about livability issues that we have out here. This is a microcosm of all of the issues that are facing our neighborhoods right now. We need somebody on the council that understands it, but then also respects and listens to you and takes that to make the decision, just like these folks are doing right here today. So thank you guys for being here. Onward.
Hi, excuse me. I'm Silkie, and I used to live in this neighborhood, Hayhurst. I'm now over in Maplewood. My kids attended school here. I walked along that stretch of Shattuck between Cameron and Beaverton Hillsdale highway when I was in high school, and I did not let my kids do it. It is terrifying. Anyways, I'm also an engineer and keenly aware of the infrastructure needs of our city. So it's a new era, both era.
Chad Lykins, are there any transgenders in the room? Yeah. We got you. I have 3 kids that graduated from Hayhurst, and I ran the chess club here for it's grown actually, so that we're in 20 schools now. I am a policy researcher. I live in the neighborhood and I've come to quite closely. This is also out to look at shadow. Talk about how. Hey everybody, my name is Soren. I'm an ex-teacher, healthcare and tech advocate. I've been a community organizer for about 8 years, so I know how hard it is to put on an event like this, especially I'm really excited to be working with you all. I live downtown, but Southwest is also a huge part of where I spend a lot of my time, especially when I want to escape the high risk. So, really excited.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Weinstein. I live in Northwest Portland. Very briefly, I lived in Alaska for a long time. I was on the city council in Michigan for 6 years, mayor for 12 years. It's a big city for Alaska. One or two of our neighborhoods here. But the same issue. We dealt with transportation infrastructure. I'm familiar with shifts, how to work with department of transportation. I also worked for a U.S. Senator for 6 years. And I know how to respond to constituents and make sure that people like you get answers from the call. The other thing I want to say is I'm a pretty good listener and I've learned a lot. And one of the things I've learned when I hear in different city forums that the west side of the river has everything and the resources of the city need to be devoted only to the east side. And it's a theme repeated in different departments in City Hall. I've learned that that's not true, and I know that all of you know that's not.
My name is Mitch Green. I'm a West Portland Park. I am Superintendent for City Council. I live right next to Jackson Middle School. I'm here tonight because I tired of seeing children walk home on 35th Avenue from that school. And it reminds me of the Shattuck issue. I'm an economist by training. I've studied economic history, and I'm here to say that, you know, there used to be a time when it didn't take 25 years to build some sidewalks. So I reject that. Vote for me.
Hi, I'm Eric Zimmerman, also a candidate. I live in the Markham neighborhood. I used to live on Beaverton Highway myself. Very acutely aware of our challenges. Right now on the chain of staff for Julia Berman, works as the county commissioner. And I've been a deputy city manager in 2 of our cities. And in one of them, I had the entire public works portfolio. So the 2017 bill, getting transportation projects, is something I'm fairly familiar with, and pretty deeply focused on our public safety across the city. But that doesn't mean in our pocket we can't be talking about our parks or transportation. So the invite was very welcome, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I should be welcome to the members for them to be re-elected. I also want to mention that we talked about federal funding quite a bit and federal planning for transportation. We met with Grace Stratton from Senator Whitey's office. She's very interested and she wants to stay connected to what's happening here. And she met with us at Cynthia Jonas and she's familiar with the neighborhood. So we also have talked to Senator Murphy's office, Mitra Nushkamani, and she is not able to be here tonight. She was planning to come, but that's positive for COVID. So she's staying home. And also have talked to someone in in state U.S. Representative Bonamici's office, and they are also very interested in, and they're going to follow the needs. So we have people at the federal level who are also paying attention and are going to help us in this challenge that I hope we don't feel too daunted by, because I know it's certainly doable. And I really like that phrase about it doesn't take 25 years to build a sidewalk. That's going to be in here. And so I think our next, were you going to simplify it all? Or? Okay. I don't think have totally versions of the agenda, but we are next going to kind of wrap things up for this part of the program. Unless Hwang, taking at the time. Okay. And now we're going to break. There's refreshments in the back, thanks to Councilor Hwang's office. And I encourage you to meet your city council representative, talk to some of the other officials who are here if you have any questions. But we really want your sticky note on the tax paper that's around the room. Write your questions, write your thoughts, write your ideas. And that's what we're gonna take back and summarize and then present to figure out what the next steps are. You know, what are your priorities, what are your questions, what are your concerns? And yeah, and then we'll get back together after about a half hour. We have a half hour for this part of the program and then we'll get back together.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say really quickly that the bathrooms, the elevator bathrooms right there. And before I lose your attention, I would be remiss if I didn't point out, while you all are advocating for transportation, this is not an or, this is an and. We also humbly ask you to advocate on behalf of our public schools. Right now, this meeting is taking place in a public school that will be impacted if the next biennium is not favorable to us. So we graciously open our doors to you and we hope that, you'll welcome us back. Thank you very much.
Okay. How are you? Introduce all those candidates. Although the county doesn't have too much growth in our area, but thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. So talk to me into it.